Thanks for tuning in to the Old Dirty Basement. On this week's episode, we're covering part 2 of Candy Montgomery.
Affairs may come and go, but axe murdering lasts forever.
Yeah, marriage counseling can be good. Also can be bad.
Yeah, so can axes.
Yeah.
They can hurt.
So part 2 here will the conclusion of the story we got into last week. We hope you're enjoying that. Speaking of which, if you are, leave that 5-star rating. On Apple, you can leave a written review. Really helps us out. And sit back, relax, and enjoy part 2 of Candy Montgomery.
This is the Old Dirty Basement, home to debauchery, madness, murder, and mayhem. A terror-filled train ride deep into the depths of the devil's den.
With a little bit of humor.
History.
And copious consciousness.
I'm your announcer, Shallow Throat. Your hosts are Dave, Matt, and Zap. I love you, Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right.
Hey, this is Dave.
Matt.
And Zap.
And welcome to the Old Dirty Basement.
Where every week we cover a true crime.
Murder.
Or compelling story.
So sit back.
Relax.
And comprehend.
Hello again, and welcome back to the Old Dirty Basement. I am Matt with me. I am Matt. With me always is Dave and Zap. What's going on, guys?
How's it going?
It is very good to be here.
Yes,
I'm very happy to be here.
Very happy to be
I
here.
got a little tongue tied or tongue twisted.
It happens.
The sick sheep is sick.
You are an earthbound misfit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
Tongue-tied and twisted.
You got candy in your mouth?
Yeah, I guess you must have some candy in your mouth.
Candy.
Mm.
She's so forward, this Candy.
She is.
Mm-hmm.
She's something.
She knows what she wants and she goes for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what all we found out in part 1 of Candy Montgomery, I guess we'll bust a recap in that ass.
Yeah, just a recap in that ass.
I like that.
Dude, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Man, that was good. So, all right. So, we talked a bit about her upbringing. You know, she grew up in an Army family. Super, super outgoing young lady. What else did we find?
Fun personality.
Super fun.
Mm-hmm.
Super fun. And so then she hooked up with her husband, whom she met at work. It was a workplace romance.
Boy was paid.
And he was paid. Very paid.
Yep.
Making big money as a electrical engineer at Texas Instruments.
Which is a huge company.
Huge, tremendous.
Are they still around though?
Shit, yeah, Kenny.
Oh, yeah.
What do they do now?
Are you kidding me? They are the industry, like they're
Leader.
They are
Pinnacle.
the dial that moves. So they're actually considered they are considered the indicator of an industry leader of semiconductors and electronics.
Okay.
Those two industries as a whole. Like they sell to more. They don't give a shit. I should say, I don't give a shit about them selling to regular consumers like you or I.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
These guys sell to manufacturing customers. They have over 100,000 manufacturing customers.
Yeah, little chips and probably things that go in.
Nice.
Shit you would never think of.
I didn't know if they were still into the calculator get up or
Did
whatever.
they, now refresh my memory, did they make cable boxes back in the day? Texas Instruments?
They might have. You know what they did? They did.
Yeah.
And I remember the gold colored plated clickers with rectangular brown.
Was that Texas Instrument?
Horizontal brown
I remember those. Yeah.
chompies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that when we were talking earlier, and I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So.
I was just thinking with the calculators and stuff, if they ever got out of that,
They still sell them. And now they're ridiculous. The graphing calculators are ridiculous.
Mm.
There remains a market for it.
just like the teacher said, you won't be walking around the stores with a calculator in your pocket. So you better learn this math.
Yeah, they were wrong.
They were wrong. Let's see. What else? Okay, so these two ended up moving to the suburbs with their family, with their kids. They, big into their church. They joined, once they had joined their local church, the First United Methodist Church of Lucas, they started meeting some people.
Of Lucas?
Of Lucas, Texas.
Oh.
Like Lucas Oil.
I thought they like their new Jesus.
Lucas. That's right.
We're like, we're so cool. We got Lucas. They're like, who's that?
That was his little brother.
Yeah. Jesus' brother, Lucas.
Lucas.
Lucas Christ.
Gotcha.
Let's see. What else? Oh, man, I wanted to go off on Lucas, but now I can't. But either way.
Lucas J. Christ.
Lucas J. Christ.
Yes, his middle name was Jesus.
That's right. The H stands for Hoobastank.
Mm-hmm. We discussed that in a former podcast.
We did. So at this church that Candy and Pat had joined, they met Betty and Alan Gore, a.k.a. Al Gore.
Yeah.
Candy, again, super active in all activities. She was also a part of the volleyball team, the intramural volleyball team at their church. One night at practice, her and Alan was also on the team. Alan Gore. They were going after the same ball, and sparks started flying. She smelled the stank on
sweat.
him.
Yeah, they formed a sweaty goulash.
They did. They did. And so from there, she basically just outright approached him, just cold, black and white. I'm into you. I want you. I just wanted to let you know. A week later, he comes back. What do we want to do about it? So then they plan their affair. They spend months planning their affair. And in the meantime, while they are planning that affair, that torrid, sex-laden love affair, Alan knocks up his own wife.
Yeah, Betty was pregnant.
He was all worked up. He went home and took it out on her. And
He did.
He's just dropping loads.
He did. Drop it low?
He's shooting ropes.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You know, he was probably thinking about that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, his wife's
He's tearing
born
it
and all
up.
that.
The whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time.
She's like, what's gotten into you?
Oh, I don't know.
Alan, is that you?
Yeah.
Here, curl your hair up like that. Put these glasses on. Yeah, there, that's
I
it.
got these glasses. These look. Where did you get these glasses?
Here, get a perm. Get a perm
Get
for daddy.
perm, Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Well, she didn't do that, and I should say Betty didn't do that, and so these two, commenced their affair. They had rules in place, like no emotions, no risks, split the expenses, and every time Candy was to bring lunch, which was
Which she
great.
did, yeah, every time.
It was to be at the same hotel, same place. Every 2 weeks they would get together.
Where did she find the time?
Release the demons.
Church choir, church activities, taking the kids
Right.
back and forth to friends' houses.
I mean, so the
making
husband's-
dinner, breakfast for the family,
Husband's
plus
at
lunches.
work. Husband's at work. She's at home.
Yeah, he's probably working a lot at that company, Texas Instruments.
He's bringing what $70,000 a year he made in 1980.
Back then, I should
Yeah.
say in today's dollars, that's 270 large.
And that's the thing, like the extra groceries she's probably buying, you don't even notice because they make so much loot.
Correct.
It's kind of like, what's
You
with the
didn't even
extra?
know.
What's with the extra, like, peanut butter jellies or whatever? I don't know what the hell she's making them, but
She's like in Goodfellas. He just carries around like wads of cash,
Yeah.
giving it to her.
it's not like here, like if we ended up, what's with 2 bags of Doritos? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like we're not the Rockefellers here. You know what I'm saying?
Can we get that store brand Dorito?
When I'm like making a recipe, I like, can I get 6 slices of Swiss, please?
Yeah.
You're like, what?
I don't
I was
want a
like,
pound.
yeah, I don't want a pound. I want 6 slices. It calls for 6.
I'm making. That's right. Look, I'm making 6 sandwiches. I need 6 slices.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, is that, yeah. And they'll do that. They do. That's what's good about the deli.
Hell yeah.
They'll hook
They'll
that
cut
up.
it to
yeah.
pretty good. I didn't know that actually.
What?
That you could only get like, I guess it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
you don't have to order a pound. You can say, I want
So
4 slices of bologna.
That's like that Chris Rock. Like just 1 rib. Come on, how much for 1 rib?
put it in my hand.
Yeah. Yeah,
just-
Puerto Coke, that's it, right?
it's like 1 rib, $7. No, just
Just 1
3.
rib, yeah.
That was. I'm going to get you sucker.
I'm gonna get you side. I
Yeah.
think so, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, so having worked at a grocery store and being the one that goes to the grocery store all the time, I can tell you, you can order as little or as much of anything that you want from the deli. So, like when I was working at the grocery store when I was in college, I would say, yeah, give me X number of slices of ham, give me 1 slice of cheese, and I'm going to go get a roll out of the bakery and I'm going to make myself a sandwich.
1 sandwich.
Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't know about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
never.
true.
Yeah, it's good to know. I mean, yeah, I didn't know that.
Look, that was back in the day before they had what everyone is now accustomed to seeing. I mean, meals to go, sandwiches ready made.
Oh my God, yeah,
This was just back in the day when there was no such thing as that. You had to prepare everything.
right.
But why make like a huge sandwich when we need like, just
Couple
enough to make a
things.
big. Yeah, I learned that back in, I think right after I got out of high school. I was like, can I get like 4 slices of
Yeah.
whatever? And they're like, yeah,
Well,
sure.
I actually remember when we were kids, I came over to your house once and I brought a big Italian loaf. And then I brought over X amount of like meat and cheese and whatever. And we made this huge, ridiculous
Yeah, we were
size sub.
watching a movie. I think the movie
Correct.
was Alive, actually.
I think you might be right.
I recall that day, because it was a big ass sub. But I think that's kind of what I think when I was like, can I get 20 slices or
100%.
yeah, like can I get 10 slices of cheese, something like that? And they were just like, sure, whatever you need. I was like, can you get 4 slices? They're like, yeah, whatever you need.
Now, of course, on the slice, you got to look at the thickness too.
Yeah.
Like I don't need a ham steak.
Right.
I want
thin slice.
I want it as thin as possible before chipping. Now I know guys who like chipped ham. I get kind of turned off by that, but I like
chippy.
it. I like it as thin as possible before it gets to chipping.
It's chippy, yeah. I don't like these grocery stores now. I feel like I'm on the clock. Like,
Correct.
You got to like do everything yourself,
Yep.
like ring your shit up, bag it, do all that. I'm like, I didn't know I was working here. You know what I'm saying? When you go,
You need a paycheck after you get out of there.
I'm like, damn.
Like, what do I get for this?
So I shop at Wegmans on the regular, and at Wegmans they discontinued giving using plastic bags to put your groceries into which to put your groceries. So yet all of the food that comes out of the deli is in a plastic fucking bag, little Ziploc bag.
Right.
All of the bags into which you put your produce are plastic on a roll of plastic. There's plastic all over the place.
Except,
But they cut out the fucking bags at the end.
Yeah.
Like at the end. So in exchange for that, you can bring your own bags.
Yes.
Or for a nickel a piece, you can buy paper bags.
what?
Buy.
You had to buy them?
Shit, yeah.
Screw that. I'd walk out like Santa, like, you know what I mean? Big sack.
Yeah, I got pockets.
Yeah, Wegmans got they got that little market corner there, man.
Yeah.
That's that West Shore. That's that West Shore money.
Look, man, all right. Well, look, not for nothing. Right down the road from you is Hershey money. So, all right. Right back at you.
Yeah.
But they don't have a Wegmans, so
Yeah, you don't
up
go.
yours.
You don't.
Yeah.
I think they're building one there, actually, aren't they? Where
That's the rumor.
you know where that truck stop kind of place is on the left hand side, going towards Target.
I thought more up towards Inglewood and the Med Center in Hershey. There's supposedly a Wegmans. one.
Really?
That's the rumor. Who knows?
Rumor has it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, you know what I'm
Mailbag
talking.
that if you know.
You know what I'm talking about? The left hand side going towards Target,
You talking about over
the back
here?
road. Yeah, over here.
Yeah. No, that was kiboshed. That was,
that was
a long
kiboshed.
time ago. Yeah.
Nah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So meantime, back on the
Back on the tracks.
the candy train. Back on the candy train. So these two were having an affair. It lasted for a few months. In fact, so it spanned over the course of time where everything was so far removed that Candy actually had hosted Betty's baby shower. Like that's just cold blooded.
That's bad karma shit.
That's
right there.
absolutely cold blooded. So Betty had ultimately so she certainly wasn't aware of the affair, but she had had enough. Like she's pregnant. She wants to get her family back on track. Her and Alan were just so distant. They went to marriage counseling, or not marriage counseling. They went to what's called marriage encounter. This ultimately, so this, they're sitting down and they're like, what are you doing, like sexually? Like I think one of the questions was like during with their counselor, right? So what are you doing sexually while Betty is pregnant? And of course, that throws him into he's frozen or whatever. How do you answer something like that? Do I just tell him, I just
Spanking it or
rubbing it out, or doing whatever? But again, just an example. But from there, this counseling really worked. This marriage encounter really worked, and they ended up. Alan and Candy ended up ending their affair, and that's where we left off. We didn't even discuss what happened thereafter.
No, we didn't.
No, yeah.
Yeah, they say this marriage encounter things are kind of like cultish.
Yeah, I was thinking more like I
Like
pictured it.
brainwashy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was picturing more like just where you meet with a therapist, kind of like counseling or whatever. But you're saying this is where groups
It's
go,
like you take like to the Radisson. It'd be like a retirement seminar,
And there's a bunch
like
of couples there.
and this guy's like the leader, and he says, tonight I want you to go into your room and I want you guys to touch each other, not sexually, just have a nice touch, and I want you to write 10 things down that you like about your spouse, and then the other one person writes the 10 things that they dislike, and then you compare, and then at the end of the night, like you kiss and make love and shit. Like then they tell you, like, let us know what your love making was like.
See, that's fucked up, man.
yeah, but that's what these things are. But these people, and I guess everybody's talking about it. Everybody's sitting around. It's not like they orge out at like the end of the week or something. I'm sure there's places like that.
Orge out.
But
Okay,
no.
everybody back into the room and take your clothes off.
Take your clothes off, everyone. But people will be like, okay, if that's what the leader wants?
That's
Right.
what
Telling you
the
some
leader.
cult shit.
Listen
Does
to
sound
the
like it.
leader.
But I guess it does do stuff for marriage. Like I said, this thing was huge in like the 80s.
It probably just opens up communication.
Yeah,
Where you're like
yeah.
keeping stuff in, and then you're
Dude,
just kind of.
I know dudes who I know couples who are absolutely fine, like perfect, ideal. They go to not necessarily stuff like this, but they go to marriage counseling like on the weekly,
Yeah.
and that's just to keep everything like
Keep
on
open
track,
lines of communication.
Yeah.
just in case. Like, look, this is we're keeping this going, and again, nothing is wrong in their relationships.
But that's in a relationship, though. I mean, you have two working individuals. I guess. I mean, not everybody. Some people are making the Texas Instrument money, but like a lot of
Yeah.
People, friends that we know, us, we come from working families, you know, the wife, husband, work. And a lot of times, like, you know, you're like two ships passing and you don't have time to sit down.
Right.
And,
Like really talk.
So these people go to these things and they're sitting there communicating for a whole weekend, like 3 days in a row, and everything's great. But then you get back to real life. And
It's like The Bachelor. That shit's fake. You ever watch that show? It's like
As hell.
Yeah, it is. It's like fantasy world. Like, you know, real life's not like that.
it's
You
a
know what I'm
plane.
saying?
It's a plane.
Yeah.
So
That's Fantasy Island for anybody.
that
out
is
there.
that was Tattoo,
Yes.
as played by
Tattoo.
Hervé Villachez.
Oh, I thought you meant Ricardo Montalban.
Ricardo Montalban. Yeah, he was the
Yeah,
the
he was
host.
the Fantasy Island guy.
Khan.
Yes,
What's
Khan.
Khan.
Star Trek.
Oh yeah, Wrath
Star
of
Trek
Khan.
2.
Yeah.
So some report in this, the ending of their affair, right? So some report that, you know, before Alan said, look, I love my wife, I'm getting back together with my wife, that Candy had actually she was the first one to develop feelings, which is, again, it came into this just black and white, robotic, again, prostitution without exchanging money. But nonetheless, developing feelings is
No.
that's a no-no. That would
Right,
break
can't
their
do that.
rules. Yet, the affair went on. So who really broke it off? Was it Alan? Was it Candy? Was it mutual?
Well, they said Candy and her husband then went to the marriage encounter because she was so pissed that
They had success.
that Al Gore wasn't giving up the loving for a while. He was like holding off. So Candy was like saying to her
Edging.
husband, she's like, we need this. Like, look, and she was the one that would like call out at night and like make comments to him at church, be like, you want none of this wet, no more, stuff like that. Like,
Dang.
Candy,
Really?
yeah, Candy would be the one that was like kept pushing it because she couldn't take that he was getting back with his wife.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
she got jealous.
She got very jealous.
really? Ooh, that's juicy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, juicy wet.
Dang.
And wasn't there something where juicy wet
That's so goddamn juvenile.
It is. That's why people love it though.
The truth.
What wasn't there something too where he wasn't that good? That like
Al wasn't very good.
yeah, like in the
Yeah,
sack?
she would tell her friends like,
Allegedly, he had a beautiful penis.
yes, she did say that to everybody. She liked his penis.
I guess Pat's Texas instrument wasn't too nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
he only had the panhandle.
You're right. There wasn't much going on, but I guess it makes sense if he wasn't that experienced, if he only slept with his wife
Sure.
and all that. But I guess it was good enough for her to keep going back, you know.
Was it, or was it just something that she liked thinking she had that power over
Maybe.
him, or
And then when you're
just like a little toy,
yeah,
and then when he
blew her
turned
off.
it off, then she started turning it back on.
She,
Like,
she felt rejected.
so it was driving her nuts.
Cowboy butts drive me nuts.
Yeah. Joe Dirt, right?
Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
All right. So after all of that, the Montgomery and Gore families remained close after the affair had ended, though Candy began to distance herself somewhat from Betty. At one point, Pat, Candy's husband, actually found out about the affair. He blamed himself, he forgave her, and they reconciled.
Yeah, you actually found letters
Yep.
that they had written.
Yeah, she was keeping keepsakes. That's
Which again is kind of like murderers and stuff. She just
send
wanted
me-
something to hold on to.
How about that? How about that? It all comes back to the forget-me-nots, the little ingots and trinkets.
You wonder if he was messing around, maybe, that he didn't care so much.
Who, Al?
No, Pat.
Pat.
Oh, Pat. No,
he's
Pat was a good dude.
I don't think Pat gave enough of a shit. Like,
Right.
look, and, not for nothing. So I'm a busy guy, right? I mean, I work, I do shit around my house. I don't have time, like, to even think about that kind of shit.
Right, true.
Like, so I'm more like Pat. Like, I get home, man, I just sit down. I don't necessarily crack a beer, but I just sit down and I'm like, all right, cool. I just want to unwind
Watch
and just
some TV.
cool out. Yeah.
But think about these guys. These guys are in their like late 20s now, right? At this time.
Close to 30, yeah.
So they're. I'm just thinking like at that age, but maybe not. You know what I mean? I just wonder if like we're thinking as guys in our 40s, it's kind of like you. I don't know about you or anybody else, but you mature over so many years and things change on what's your drive, what's on your mind.
I blame that on low T.
Yeah, low testosterone. Yeah, the hair loss.
Actually, yeah. After we're done podcasting, we got to throw the football around the yard.
Yeah, do a commercial.
Do a commercial.
We should do that.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking these guys are younger than like I
You're right,
picture.
though. If you're-
I envision in my mind when I watched this show that these guys were in their 40s, but in reality, are guys and girls.
That's because they got the 80s look to them.
That's
they
it.
all look older.
Yeah.
They're all in their like late 20s, early
Late 20s,
30s.
pushing 30. I think she started this affair when she was 29.
Yeah.
I think.
So wouldn't you like be wanting sex all the time?
That's what I don't understand. I'm
Yeah, I
thinking
get what
about
you're
this
saying
guy.
now.
So, not to say that he was, because maybe he was,
especially
probably wasn't. But what if he was like, breaking somebody else off at work or having
like you
an
said,
affair at
making this money he was making, coming home to have like, I mean, she was attractive, 80s attractive. I mean, the women look different then, but they're still attractive.
Yeah.
But yeah,
80s dudes.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the 80s dudes were cool.
Just like, but just like 70s and 80s dudes were apparently attractive, yet they all looked like
The
Matthew
same.
McConaughey,
Yeah,
the same with
they
his
all look the same.
That same look.
creepy mustache and long hair.
Same thing with the women had kind of like the perms or like the long straight hair.
Yep.
I'm just wondering why he was so quick to forgive her, but maybe he's just a good dude like that. Like, I was wrong. And like,
You're
blamed
right.
it on
Maybe
himself.
maybe he finally was like took a deep breath and was like,
I'm not
good,
the only
all right,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't got to say nothing now.
That's what I gathered, that he blamed himself. So Pat, and so again, just to recap, we're talking about Pat.
Right.
So Pat Montgomery blamed himself
For the affair. And all
for when he found out that Candy was doing whatever on the sly with Alan. When he found the cards or the forget-me-nots or whatever, it's like, shit, what did I do to drive her to somebody else?
To that.
Or what haven't I done to keep our marriage exciting? Which now makes sense, Matt, that you say that that you had said they went to the marriage encounter. Like that's going to bring them back together. They're drinking the Kool-Aid like the Gores were.
Yeah, everything's going to be perfect after we go away for a weekend and communicate, and our marriage will be saved, and everybody's going to be lovey-dovey. And
'Cause you got the kids. It's all complicated. So you want to try to work it out, I'm sure. But yeah. So that's probably it too. He's probably like, this is going to be a big mess. Let me just forgive her and move on. And
Big mess.
yeah.
see, the 80s too, unlike today, like if you're out doing the cheat sheet in the 80s, it's a different story than the 2020s.
And they didn't have cameras. There was no phones.
Right.
I mean, like everything today is on your internet, on your phone, your computer, like anything. You can track anything.
Right.
So it's like today, I mean, like is the juice really worth the squeeze?
Correct.
And so, like you're like, wow, that chick is hot, but it ain't. Yeah, you're talking like child support. You're talking spousal support. You're talking all kinds of shit.
Right. Yeah.
But back then in the 80s, it's kind of like, I'll take a shot.
She took
Murders and murders
murders and executions.
No, murders and cheating and shit was a lot easier in the
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, back in my day, I could go to the grocery store. I could get, 5 pounds of filet, 5 pounds of lobster, like all kinds of stuff for like $10. And then they put them damn cameras
The
in.
cameras in, yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's nothing in my shirt. What's just taking out live lobsters?
Moving around.
That's a tumor.
Like what the hell is that?
That's
Don't you worry about that.
I cut myself shaving.
There's no self-checkout.
I have to return some videotapes.
Yes.
Well,
CDs and cassettes.
on Friday, June 13th, 1980, Alan Gore departed for a business trip in Minnesota. His eldest daughter, Elisa, had been at a sleepover the night before at the Montgomery house with Candy and Pat's daughter, Christina. And Betty was at her and Alan's home on 410 Dogwood Drive with their 11-month-old daughter. Candy had a packed schedule that day, vacation Bible school in the morning, and varying errands to run, including taking Alyssa Gore to a swimming lesson. This required her to go to the Gore home to pick up Elisa's swimsuit.
I like how you said Candy had a packed schedule. It's like vacation Bible school in the morning and various errands to run.
So, those errands included, but we're not limited to. She had to go out and buy Father's Day cards. She had to probably go buy groceries.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, her and Al had
But compared to
eaten all the
today,
other
like
groceries.
you're looking at like a packed schedule. You're like, what a life.
I know.
Like I got like 3 things to do, starting with vacation Bible school, but I'll get there.
So, fun fact. I worked with this partner when I was with Ernst & Young. So his wife was a homemaker and still is. He's since retired, but every day, and I mean every day, she went to the grocery store to get that day's groceries for that evening's
Dinner.
supper.
That's old school.
Yeah.
That is old school.
That's old school.
Like this guy, look, I want fresh bread. I want fresh. I want fresh. Cool.
I want beef stew. You're going to get the beef cubes.
I see you like this. I
Potatoes.
see you like this old Russian lady.
Stirring it up.
Like whatever you need, I'll get it.
Yeah, that guy was old school Italian. He did it right.
Oh, Italian. Okay, I was thinking Russian, Italian, something like that.
So around 10 a.m. that morning, upon arriving at the Gore house and exchanging pleasantries with Betty.
No pun intended.
What?
The Gore house.
Yeah.
That was like
A
pleasantries.
play on the last name. Yeah.
You lost me on that, but that was good.
They exchanging pleasantries, Betty confronted Candy about her suspicions of Candy and Alan having an affair. A scuffle ensued and ended with Betty receiving 41 blows with an axe.
Damn.
Candy then showered at the Gore house, leaving her hair in the drain and fingerprints in the blood where Betty lay dead, and departed the house, leaving the 11-month-old alone. Betty's dead body in the crime scene was discovered late that night by a few of the Gore's neighbors, whom Alan had asked to investigate after Betty didn't answer his repeated phone calls.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too in the 80s, like no cell phones, no, like you can't really keep tabs.
You were glued. You're absolutely glued to a phone. And if you're nervous in service, like you are glued. You are waiting. Absolutely waiting.
And they said Alan Gore right away was like calling because he said, Betty was being weird, that he had to leave again. So he was concerned about her. And he made like attempted phone calls throughout the night, calling, worried, called different neighbors, even called Candy and asked, did you see Betty tonight? And she made up, she pretty much said the story that they did. I went to see her.
Pick up the swimsuit.
Yeah, I gave her peppermints because she went underwater. My daughter, like everybody was happy. And he's like, I don't know. Just let me know if something happens.
Right.
Like make sure you call me.
Now, Betty had that postpartum depression, like, and bad, like really, really bad. So Alan, again, is trying to be, look, man, whatever. Like you don't know that I was banging Candy, but I'm trying to come back here and be a good husband. Like we kind of separated to, emotionally.
Right.
And I'm trying to get our marriage here back on the tracks. And so he was, just being a good dude, trying to follow up like, hey man, look, you have that depression about you. I'm saying to myself, says
Checking
Alan.
up on you,
So
yeah.
just checking in. And she wasn't answering the phone.
So he's probably worried like she committed suicide or who knows, I wonder too, like, which I don't know if we'll get into at some point, like what Candy said happened when they were there, the conversation. And
That's so we can get into anything the hell you want.
so my thing is that
You only get one side.
true. Exactly. And she had said that Betty was the aggressor in the beginning, correct?
Yep. So that's what I heard. Yep.
So I was going to ask you, do you think that in like her being postpartum, maybe that she could have been on pills maybe, or that made her act out, you know what I mean? Like if she got on any kind of like psychiatric medication or anything that maybe would have made her
antidepressants.
Yeah, she battled with depression, so she might have been on something.
You don't know how those pills react. If it could have changed something in her head and made her react a certain way, and that you hear about people doing sometimes having reaction to different kind of pills.
Sure.
They never really talked about that or said that as even like a
Possibility.
possibility.
Okay.
Was she on anything? Was she on any medication that maybe? I'm sure Candy's attorneys and stuff, as we'll get into that, maybe had that information, but I never really heard anything brought up about that.
No, I never read anything about that either, whether she was hopped up on goofballs because of her depression.
For Betty, the thing with Candy too that was weird is that she went and like after this happened 41 times, and they said some of the cuts were so deep and like so brutal that she actually had to take time to remove the axe.
They got stuck
out of Betty's head 3 times.
It's horrible. Yeah. The whole thing's horrible, but
Yeah.
just trying to break it down in my head. Like there's so many unanswered questions. Like Zap said, you only obviously have one side.
Yeah.
The 11-month-old is not going to know anything.
Well, see, the thing with
She
the
was
11th,
there,
the 11th-month-old threw me off too, because you're leaving an 11th-month-old there for like a night. Like I think it was 13, 14 hours.
13 hours, yep.
13 hours. And
And look, P.S., Candy just pieced the fuck out. Like she just left. But think about it. What's she going to do? Take the baby someplace?
well,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. But that's like a child endangerment thing. There was no charges like that brought up or anything. You know what I mean? Like she left a 11-month-old child by itself with a dead mother.
Yeah. Was she in that trance though, or she didn't even realize?
Well, that comes into the story. Yeah. I guess we'll talk about that. It's wild the way that happened.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is like talking about neighbors in the 80s and stuff. Like back then you had to know all your neighbors, have their
100%.
information, their phone numbers and stuff. I'm thinking about like, I
Spare
know
keys, all of that shit.
all that
Yeah.
stuff. Now I know obviously Matt's number and a couple of, but as far as neighborhoods, like in my neighborhood, I only have me personally, I only actually have your phone number, maybe one other one. Now I know my wife has more, but like I don't think you keep in touch like you did back then. That was your lifeline to everything when you weren't at home.
Right.
Neighbors check up on everything.
Or people thought like people were weird, like you don't even know his neighbor, or like you go to visit people and like they're like, oh, that's I don't really know that guy next door.
He's like some recluse or some shit.
Yeah.
He just keeps to himself. It's interesting. My next door neighbors have grown ass kids, very grown ass kids. Let's say they're, our age. The one girl, maybe 10 years ago, was going for some kind of clearance with the federal government. So when they do that, they're going to send out investigators to come knocking on doors saying, hey, man, do you know that? Can you tell me something about these people? It's like, look, I can tell you all you need to know about the mother and father. I see them all the time. But insofar as the kids, I don't know nothing.
Right.
'Cause I've never seen them. Like they had been grown and gone. And the guy had said to me, well, it's interesting. You don't know anything about the kids? No. I just moved here. I moved here after they had moved out.
Right.
Why would I know the
Yeah,
kids?
how would you know him?
Yeah.
Look someplace else, dude. And I slammed the door on that bitch.
Damn.
Slammed it on.
That's hardcore.
Slammed the child on the hard concrete.
It's out.
That's out. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, that's the truth, man. You just now you got your Ring doorbells, you got
I was gonna say,
cameras
that rings
everywhere. You
and-
can just check in on your house
Yep.
from anywhere. You
Yeah.
know? Pretty wild.
But it is weird the way that, I don't know. You're right. You're missing like that factor. And I think in
that
like from the,
community factor, almost
it even
like
goes in like
neighbor.
when you see the movies that were filmed, like the 20s to the 30s to the 50s, and then to today, like just that community factor isn't there.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I know a lot of my neighbors, but just not
Yeah,
not like that. Where
Yep.
I lie. I do have another guy's phone number down here, but I have a lot of neighborhoods.
Oh wait, no, I do have. Wait, I know pretty much everybody in my neighborhood.
I
Never
do
mind.
have more numbers than I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Now that I come to think of it, but my point is it's not like
How when growing up when you're
I would just know every neighbor, like their name,
Correct.
their number, their, you know, and you're on a first name basis.
Well, we were in a point too where it's like a latchkey program where if like if we were locked out of our house or something happened, there was like all these people's houses like that you could just go anywhere in your neighborhood and feel safe.
100%. Those were the days, man. They
That
don't
was.
exist anymore. I think everyone's community now is in their pocket.
on the phone. Yep.
Like they can talk to, Aunt Tessie out in Philly or whatever. Like they can stay in contact with whomever they wish to stay in contact without ever having to leave their homes.
True.
Very true.
I don't know. Alas, I miss the old days.
Right.
Well, it didn't take long for police to pin the murder on Candy. Candy gave her deposition to the police on Father's Day, June 15th.
Now, an interesting part of this too in the story, they kept asking about like an affair. Have you had an affair with anyone? Has your wife had an affair? And Alan was like, yeah, she had one before, and he kind of stayed quiet. And they asked Candy also, were you involved with anybody else in the church? And he kind of like they both kind of kept quiet. I think the second time around, I think Alan called and said, well, there's one thing.
Yeah, and he left that out.
Yeah. And he said there was an affair with Candy Montgomery. So then all of a sudden, like everything turned to her.
Alarm bells are ringing.
Yes.
He threw her under the bus.
He did.
Right.
They,
Without
they
a
had
doubt.
no clue. They thought it was some large gentleman or like a group of like crazy kids that
Yeah.
entered the neighborhood.
Some crazy ass woodsman.
Well,
Yeah.
they knew based on the footprint that it was either a smaller man or a woman
Yes.
because of the bloody footprint. But I'm thinking about all the friends she was blabbing her mouth to about the affair. Like, oh, I'm attracted. Like one of them had to be talking to the police because they're probably asking around. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Well,
like,
wasn't there just like one of her, or there was two? She told
there was
like
more
two
than
or-
one. At least
I know that she told one. I know that she told one woman, but there's a thing with a secret. Once you tell
one. Yeah, it's
one,
over.
it's no longer a secret.
Right.
That's why you can't commit a murder with more than one person.
Right. Word's going to get around, and I'm sure that's what happened.
Candy
Especially
got
when-
around.
Yeah, she did.
About it. Yeah.
Well,
They passed her around
Mm-hmm.
like a delicious piece of
like the
candy.
dish.
Yeah, like a candy dish. I get it.
Yeah.
Within a matter of 2 weeks, Candy was arrested. She pleaded not guilty, claiming self-defense. Her trial began in mid-October 1980 and lasted just 8 days. Candy's defense called upon a psychologist who testified that a traumatic childhood memory of Candy's had been triggered during her scuffle with Betty, causing her to disassociate from the act and leaving only her suppressed rage to carry out the deed. On October 30th, 1980, she was found not guilty by a jury of 3 men and 9 women.
That's just crazy.
That's
man.
crazy.
Yeah.
So one more time. She stroked this woman 41 times with an axe. 41.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, no, it wasn't me. It was rage. It was this disassociated thing.
Yeah, but there was something with that. Remember you were talking about, or did we talk about that? Where she went to see her psychiatrist or the person there, and when she was put under
Hypnosis. Yep.
she went nuts.
There was an incident when she was like 4 years old. I think she got into I don't know. She
Something
threw
with
a
her
fit
mother.
and no, it was like with another kid. She got
Oh.
into a fit and threw like a glass jar and it broke off something and shards of glass cracked her and caught her in the eye. She was bleeding. They took her to the ER and she was having a fit. She's 4 years old and she's bleeding.
She's
and
crying. She's being loud. She's doing whatever. And
the mother's like, you need to relax, calm down. You're going to make everybody out there and
you're comfortable.
And you're embarrassing us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you know about that part.
I know about it. I just didn't write it down.
Okay. So so that whole thing, like that kind of ties back to what happened with the murder.
So 100%. So if I understand correctly, and this is printed everywhere, this has nothing at all to do with, again, what you could watch on Hulu or watch on HBO. Like this information is out there.
Right.
Hell, a transcript of the trial is out there. And the way that they broke it down was as during their scuffle, according to this, as a result of hypnosis, Betty Candy, or she actually had said shh while her baby was crying in the other room.
So she was shitting her baby.
Yeah. So she's in the laundry room with Candy, and they're fighting over a fucking axe, and the baby is crying in the other room. And so, as they're fighting over this axe or fighting with each other or holding each other tightly, in Betty's mind, she's just, shh, like, please be quiet, baby. I'm trying to, beat the shit out of this Candy woman for, sleeping with my husband. So having had an axe blow to the head, the butt of the axe Candy had received, as they're struggling over the weapon with that blow to the head. Bam. That's not unlike the glass shard or whatever that had struck her when she was a kid,
4 years old. Yeah.
And then that second trigger, the shushing, she just snapped. And that's where 41 blows come.
Jeez.
And think about it. This is a little woman. Like, I've seen pictures
like
of her.
5'2".
Yeah,
I think
she wasn't very big at all.
She's petite. There is no way. Look, and I've swung plenty of axes in my day. I'm going to get tired after swinging that axe 41 times. Like, and I mean, damn tired. Like, I might not even get to 41.
I think they said she's 5'2", Candy around, and then Betty was like 5'8". So
Betty was a lot bigger.
Decent size difference, yeah.
But that's what Betty was the one that asked about the affair, then got kind of like Candy admitted it, which I would have gotten out of the house and said, "No, you're nuts. Let me get the swimsuit. Let me get out of here." But when Betty heard it, she got up. Like, I guess she was just kind of out of it. Went and grabbed the axe from the garage, but they said Candy went into the room after she saw her grab the axe.
The way I understand it is that Betty wanted to prove her point. And the point was, at least, okay, I found you out. You admitted it to me. And now I have to, show my strength. I'm just going to bring this axe out. And so she walked back to the whatever garage, grabbed the axe, walks back out, and she's just standing there with the axe next to her. You need to get out of my house. You can't have him. It's my husband. You can't have him. He's not yours. You can't have him.
Yeah, but then according to the story,
and then she puts it back.
Yeah, but like Candy was like, "Well, I need to come in and get the swimsuit."
Yeah. So can I have the swimsuit?
Yeah, can I have the swimsuit? I know you brought the axe out. I'm not going to leave yet because I really need the swimsuit. Yeah. So let's go in this little utility room here and let's discuss the swimsuit. And then Betty grabbed the axe, and that's where she came at her and hit her with the butt end.
I mean, it's a slap. It's a slap in the face to Betty. Essentially, that again. All right, Candy. Look, you got
me.
My
kid just stayed at your house last night.
You got me. It was a long time ago. It's not. It's never going to happen again. I'm so sorry, Betty. She taps her on the shoulder like, "Hey, sorry," which is really like, again, that slap. Like,
right.
I won. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
But that's where the story just didn't make sense. In the 41 times, and you can say back to this thing, but they said when she was with the psychiatrist or psychologist, whoever it was, the psych person, that she let out this primal scream that nobody's heard. And there was witnesses to the whole thing.
Primal.
It was primal, they said.
Yeah.
Like her screams with Alan's sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Primal.
Yeah, I just think that's, I think she was just like in that, like, I really do believe she probably just reverted back to that childhood thing and snapped and whatever.
Well, so did that jury of her peers. That they happened to agree with that. I mean, they let her off, and that it only took them like 3 hours to deliberate. 3 hours and change, maybe 4 hours. It was less than 4.
I do know that like during or like after she was arrested but then released on bail.
Yep.
She was going back to her church for events and all that, and all the church members there were like supporting her, like, "Oh, we believe, we know you're innocent, or we know this is all misunderstanding or whatever." So she had the support of friends and stuff at church. I mean, I don't know about all of them, but I think the consensus, most of them were like, "No, this cannot be."
Yep.
People that knew her couldn't believe that she would have done this.
Yeah. Now, equally with that, though, I mean, there were people that were at that trial that were standing outside picketing, calling it murder.
Yeah, she was a homewrecker and a murderer.
She was a
to a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
She was a harlot.
I mean, she was a person that was, pretending to be a church going good lady who was having an affair with another member of the church. I mean, she did some of it while Betty Gore was pregnant.
Yeah.
And then she goes around and hits her 41 times with an axe. So I'm sure there was people on her side.
I wonder if it changed then after, initially maybe they were supporting her, maybe they turned on her after details came out, and maybe people didn't buy that. Back then, like, people didn't, I don't know how much, like, I don't know if this is the first case of that or anything like that, how common that was for somebody to say moment of insanity and get off like that.
Well, so it's interesting you should say that. Mm-hmm. So let's not forget what happened with Billy Milligan.
Yes, yeah,
so
right.
We just did Billy Milligan as our last true crime. So this woman, in their defense, they actually used the term dissociated, right? So she completely shut down, reverted to that childhood from 4 years, or when she's 4 years old, and then she just comes back out swinging. Mm-hmm. Billy Milligan, very similar, who'd had dissociative identity disorder. When he would get into that time of trauma or whatever, he would immediately shut off and somebody else would come out, like some other personality would come out. Mm. That was in the 70s, wasn't it?
70s, late 70s.
Billy Milligan happened before this, for sure.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, but you're right. It's
still fresh in everyone's mind. Like it's incredibly coincidental that we happen to be doing these two so closely together,
back to back.
And another thing they said that really saved Candy's case was Al Gore when he was put on the stand, and they asked him.
It's just funny every time I hear it.
As vice president, he said, "No, I guess Gore was saying that it's not possible for her to, like, she never said anything bad about Betty or wanting to hurt Betty." And they said, do you see her killing this woman out of whatever happened between? And he was like, no, I don't. Something must have happened. Like, I don't see it. She never mentioned anything about hurting anybody, or she was never a bad person. So something had to have happened.
Something snapped. Yeah.
Unless she kept it in the closet.
Yeah. She's like,
well, that's what they were saying. Like, she was all, like, brought up to kind of keep stuff in and not, if she was upset over something, almost like keep it inside. And they were saying, like, if people to do that and don't really show their emotions and stuff, they're bottling it up. And it just all came out at once. They said that could happen,
Well, that's the thing. Like, you don't know what she was on the sly. Like, in her spare time, maybe her mom was, like, wacky. Yeah. She just was like, I'm just going to, like, I'm going to pretend I'm having such a great time. But really deep inside, I'm, like, nuts.
Yeah. Laughing on the outside, crying on the inside, one of them deals.
It's every day of my life.
It's called life.
Life, yeah.
So I'm curious between you two. What do you think?
As far as her being innocent, like, not innocent, but like using that disassociation or whatever it is, disassociation or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, really, so it comes down to this. Now let's not forget before we go any further with this. She did submit to a polygraph test, and she did in that polygraph without lying. It was self-defense. She came at me with an axe. She came at me. She was attacking me. So do you think? Like, would you agree with the jury that this was self-defense, or do you think it was just a really, really well-crafted, just murder? Jealous rage murder?
I think it was, in my mind, I think it was probably self-defense. Like, I think it probably was that she got into a confrontation with her. Whether or not it was all as she said, you know what I mean? I don't know, but I don't think she would have went into the house, like, went and got an axe and, like, attacked her. I think it all kind of, like, probably blew up in front of her. Like, Betty probably did go get the axe, and they had a confrontation, and then she probably just went black and just kind of went nuts. The cut on her toe, the axe cut that they showed. Cut. I mean, really, she could have, like, been swinging and missed and hit her own foot.
That's what they allege.
Yeah. So that you can't really say with certainty, but in my mind, I just don't, I mean, people can snap. So she could have just snapped, but I kind of think that, it was probably like just like in that moment, she just lost it and used the self-defense excuse, whether or not it was justified. I mean, nobody was there to prove otherwise. I just don't think that you can prove that she did murder her. So it's just one of them things where I don't think if you can.
Well, there's no other side of the story,
right?
As Zap said. I think that when Betty brought the axe out or whatever, started acting weird, I don't know why Candy stuck around.
True. Like, I would have pieced out.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, okay, man, it's cool.
Like, Dave, you go back there and grab an axe and stuff. Be like, cool, man.
Well, hey, how about this? Since I got to go to Target to get a Father's Day card, I'm just going to go there to buy another goddamn bathing suit.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. I'm going to leave.
And peppermints.
I'm sure after there was I knew there was a struggle. You could tell there was a struggle. I don't understand how there was no other charge brought up in this case. Like, because even if she was acting out of craziness for a minute, wouldn't that be like a manslaughter?
I thought about that too. I'd love
a second degree or a third, and something different than just a murder charge.
Like an aggravated assault.
I didn't understand the lawyers what they were going for in that. So that I think she could have got convicted of something.
To get off totally, you're right. Yeah.
I'd love to have JW
free.
do an old dirty mailbag on that.
You know, I was thinking about having JW on. We should just do an episode where we go over all different
crimes that we went over.
And sentences, like break this down. What's this? What's
see what his verdicts would be.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. Just to explain what's grand larceny. What's this? What's that?
Call it the basement's court, like the people's court.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Basement's court.
Basement's court.
nice.
He did tell me what grand larceny is, and I forget like the amount.
It's
certain amount.
There's a dollar threshold.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for the murder, like if I was sitting on a jury and I could see like if the affair, I could see her being jealous towards this Gore lady. She just had a kid with this guy who was this girl's lover. They had marriage counseling. He, went back with his wife. But the thing that would have struck me was the gruesomeness or the just the gory, bloody
severity of it. Yeah.
murder of hitting the lady 41 times. Like we said, they said the axe was stuck in her head 3 times, that she had to stop and physically get it out. They said the cuts that like her face was completely crushed on the one side, like her eye socket, everything was crushed. Like her brains were on the floor in the room.
Jeez.
That's where I don't see how no other charge could be brought against her and completely free of murder.
They call that overkill.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was, even if she went crazy for a minute, 41 times, like, yeah, just like go home and like swing something 41. It's a lot.
Now, granted, she didn't go over there with a weapon.
No.
She walked over there asking for a swimsuit.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what I was thinking. Like something had to happen in there that was a confrontation.
Yeah.
But even
Not to justify it,
but she had the opportunity, even like in her deposition, is that what that's called? Or even in her, when she was called,
like her statement. Or
yeah, like she had a chance. They like, did she force you to come or go there? Or no, she had an opportunity to leave.
Her testimony.
Testimony.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, guilty of murder? No. Guilty of manslaughter or another charge of her, like, flipping the F out? Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. Just what we've done insofar as we've gone over murder versus manslaughter. But I guess, I don't know, maybe the self-defense actually worked. It obviously did. Look, I'm no attorney.
Hey, I'm no doctor.
I'm no scientist.
I'm no scientist,
Yeah,
but
me
from what
neither.
I'm learning from these true crimes, and we do quite a few.
Yeah.
Starting to learn some of the law, some things here and there, but I just don't see how she got away with everything completely scot-free.
I'm no electrical engineer.
Right.
It's
Me neither.
Speaking of electrical engineer, after the trial, Alan relinquished custody of his kids to his parents and married another local woman not long after the trial ended.
Mm-hmm.
Those two eventually divorced. He has since relocated to Florida and is now retired. He's outside of Sarasota, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nice little area there.
Candy and her husband, Pat, moved to Georgia. They too later divorced. She now goes by her maiden name. I think it's stated out there that she's now some kind of mental health
mental health
professional
expert.
or therapist or some shit or whatever.
Yeah.
It's How to Get Away with Murder,
Yeah.
featuring Candy.
Yeah. Right. Fun facts.
Truly, I never tire of that.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, the murder of Betty Gore occurred on June 13th, Friday the 13th, 1980.
Yeah.
That same day, the now famous movie Friday the 13th was released in theaters.
That's correct.
How about that? Cash Me Outside.
And also there was a connection to The Shining that came out like within that same month, I believe, or a month earlier.
Yeah.
And actually when they arrived at the murder scene, there was a magazine open on the page for an ad for The Shining. So they were trying to make a connection between
Like a devil group or...
Well, they were making a connection between The Shining with the axe, with Jack Nicholson chasing his wife with the axe in the movie. And they were like, oh, maybe there's some connection here because this is an axe murder and blah, blah, blah. And also, like you said, Friday the 13th, the movie had just come out. So it's pretty wild. In the show, we talked about the Hulu show. The one that was on Hulu was called just Candy, I believe. In that show, the guy's driving not Alan's character. Yeah, not Alan's character.
The yellow Volkswagen?
Yes, the 1980, yeah.
That little pickup truck. As soon as I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, I might want to get one of those little micro pickup trucks.
Yep. So that was a 1980 VW pickup. So MSRP on those back then, like it was a 1980, which they didn't really say what year, it was be about $6,070.
Think about that for a moment. $6,070 for that Volkswagen back in its day. Pat earned 70 large per year.
Ooh.
So that's not bad, dude.
No.
That's not bad. I mean, that's less than 10% of his income. He can buy a fucking new pickup truck.
Brand new hoop rides.
Yeah.
That's great.
So there was a set of custom wheels on that. They were called Ronal R10 turbo wheels.
Some Ronals. Sitting on Ronals.
Ronals, I guess you say. But those weren't introduced till 1983, so they got that
they
wrong
messed
on
it
the
up.
show.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not
Good fun fact.
not
Attention
period
to
correct.
detail, you sons of bitches.
Not to mention the truck was lowered and
Oh,
a couple
cool.
other things there. Like they
Did it have hydraulics? Was it like
it might have.
Dude, that truck was down to his kneecaps.
It was funny to see him get in it. He
Yeah.
was kind of a big dude.
Yeah.
You know.
So it was sitting on those low profiles.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm telling you, it really did like come up to his waist. It was super short or super low, I should say.
And Jessica Biel's character was Candy Montgomery. She drove a Chevy Impala station wagon, which Zach was saying about maybe minivan would have been like a godsend.
She would have loved. She was only 4 years away from the minivan coming out. Like she just missed it.
I think in Love and Death on the HBO or the Max series, I think that the Olsen sister was pretty hot. She's not one of the twins, but
Is she younger or older?
she's the youngest one.
Youngest one. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you were mentioning Jessica Biel, what she was driving. Fun fact. So Jessica Biel played Candy, and the sheriff in this movie was played by Justin Timberlake,
Yes.
who is Jessica Biel's husband.
Yeah.
That's right,
In
yeah.
real life,
In real life.
That's
yeah.
right.
life.
It is in real life.
not in movie time.
No, not in movie life.
Yeah, and Betty was driving they had two cars in the garage there at Betty's house. There was a 1977 Chrysler LeBaron Medallion and also a first generation Honda Civic. They only had about 53 horsepower. I don't know if you saw a little Civic in the garage. I think that was at that might have been at
That's the Gore house.
Gore house, yeah.
So, fun fact, since you mentioned Betty. So, Betty, well, let's go with this. So, Betty played, obviously, the dead lady hit with 41 axes.
Mhm.
This is in the Hulu series.
I think
Right.
that's a Wu-Tang album.
In the
41 axes.
41 axes.
13 chambers, yeah.
So, again, this is the Hulu. Just as Jessica Biel is married in real life to
Timberlake.
who played the sheriff, Betty is married to, in real life, the guy who played the sheriff's deputy in the Hulu series.
Okay.
That guy is John Ritter's kid.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Three's
Little
Company.
Ritter.
Little Ritter.
Little Tripper.
I love Jack Tripper.
Yeah,
man.
Jack
He's
Tripper's the
best.
man.
Three's
Yeah.
Company.
There you go.
Little fact.
That's a
fun
cool.
fact,
That is a
yeah.
cool fact. I didn't know that one actually.
So
yeah.
the two the
two have become one.
protagonists, the two protagonists in this movie were married to the two cops.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are in real life
In real
married.
life married.
The lawyer that Candy got, Don Crowder, he was actually he wasn't even a defense lawyer. He was actually a lawyer for like when people get in accidents and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
He was an ambulance chaser.
Yeah. So
No offense, JW.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
when she asked him to do this, he was all like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but you don't got no money. You're part of the church. It's the church sticking together. And later, Don Crowder, he ran for governor of Texas, lost, and opened a sports bar shortly thereafter. And they said in 1998, he like went nuts kind of, and he committed suicide.
Oh shit. Her attorney did that.
Her attorney.
Sad.
So
Sad world.
that is sad. So we're talking about all the money my man was making there at Texas Instruments. So just to give you an idea, like we talked about the cars. So let's talk about the house prices. So average house price in Texas, 1980 median house price was about $61,300.
God damn.
The national average was about $62,500. So it was a little under that.
Yep.
And then
His house was banging.
it was a nice house. Yeah.
I loved Candy's house. Candy and Pat's house was so cool. At least how it was portrayed in the Hulu series. Man, that was a great
And the
house.
the one in Love and Death was even nicer.
Really?
They're talking like today. It's like it had to be $1.5 million home. There's like all the stone facade, and it was like one of them long ranch homes with the basement that was like twice the size of like the upper rooms. It was very nice, very nice.
Yeah, speaking of those two shows, so as we talked about, there's a show on Hulu the Candy, Montgomery. I think it was just called Candy.
Yep.
And then the one on Max that's more current is called, what was that called? It was like the
Love and Terrible.
Love and Death.
Love and Death.
Love and Terrible.
Love and Terrible.
Whatever.
I think Love and Death was, I don't know, it was a good one.
I watched like 1.5 episodes of that. I did watch the whole Hulu thing. And the only thing that I didn't like, and it turned me off right away. So I watched the Hulu series first, and I looked up the real characters. And the Hulu, to me, was more accurate in their portrayal of the time period and the people and everything else. The Max series seemed to modernize their looks. Almost didn't look like the one guy kind of looked appropriate, but the girl, like the Olsen girl, she looked just way too, like the hair was straight. It didn't even look like the real character. I don't know. It kind of turned me off.
I think Olsen was hotter than Beale.
Well, she's
That's
hot.
Candy.
She's definitely good looking, and so is Jessica Biel. But they really
I see what you're saying.
They took Jessica Biel and made her look like the actual girl,
Like Candy.
curly hair, the big glasses.
But I mean, the Olsen sister, she wore the glasses and stuff. She had the hair kind of up a little bit. I guess because she doesn't have naturally curly type hair. Or
But they could have.
did Beale wear a wig or something?
I don't know if
Maybe.
she did, but it just, to me, it looked more authentic. Not to mention, like, a lot of times with these shows and stuff, I don't know, I get nostalgic and stuff. When I was watching the Hulu show, I'm like, man, just the hairstyles, everything. Like, my mom actually had hair like that and glasses like that back in the 80s. I'm like, holy shit. Just reminds me like my childhood.
It's a good thing she didn't kill your dad.
I know, that would have been bad, yeah. But I don't know. I really enjoyed the Hulu one. The other one, I didn't finish it, so I can't really say, but I don't know. They were made too close together, too.
As I said, the one on YouTube that was based on the book.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's way old, so it's probably...
Actually, it's pretty good.
Is it really?
Yeah. I was watching that today.
While I did not see it, from what I hear, tell about that HBO series, it's made out more to make Candy look like a victim versus the story that was told in the Hulu one. Again, just a little bit. Again, and again, I will repeat it. I have not seen the HBO one. Again, it's just tell, or as I should say, what I've read about it. Just didn't have enough time, and not for nothing, I didn't have enough interest. I mean, I'm flipping through so many pages of stuff on this story.
Yeah.
Right.
There's only so many shows I'm going to watch.
But the Love and Death, it kind of shows Candy as the one that, the aggressor. I don't know how much of the Hulu one got into just like, this is the way I want it. These are my rules. We're going to have an affair. Like, she was the one that just put everything on the table. Yeah. And Gore was just like, I guess, I don't know. Like,
he didn't. He could take it or leave it.
Kind of from the beginning. And then like after the thing started, he was getting a free lunch and sex.
He's getting lunch
bi-weekly.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
I'm saying.
That's
not a bad deal.
Yeah, not a bad deal. It's like if they had that at Arby's, I'd be there bi-weekly.
hell yeah.
Yeah, right.
You start advertising that shit.
Some extra horsey sauce, please.
Extra horsey sauce. He knows the horsey sauce.
Yeah, hopefully there's no roast beef.
Yeah,
exactly. You know what I'm saying? But
oh yeah. Keep those curtains.
That's right.
Some meat hangers.
So this guy working at Texas Instruments, and we were talking about calculators. I thought an interesting fun fact would be to take a look at the first calculator that Zab was talking about, the little handheld one that they were developing. March 29th, 1967, the Texas Instrument Caltech prototype. That was like a handheld calculator. That thing currently was valued, I think it was recently, within the past couple of years, at about $68,000. The president of Texas Instruments, Patrick Haggerty, he spent about 2 years with developers coming up with that idea for that little handheld calculator. But they went to auction for like $68,000 for like a first generation Texas.
Sure, that's certainly for nostalgia,
for sure. And I thought that
like
was
anything
cool.
Apple or
yeah,
anything like that today.
Well, I thought that was an insane number, but it's really in comparison here not as bad as one from 1820. Thomas de Comar. I don't know how you say this name.
Which was in no way, shape, or form. This wasn't a handheld calculator.
No, it was small, but not handheld.
Gotcha.
For sure. This one was patented in 1820. It sold at auction in 2013 for $313,000.
That's ridiculous.
Damn.
Now that calculator was produced.
Way too much money.
It's a lot.
Hands.
It's a lot. It was produced from 1851 to 1915, and it was used daily by many businesses because it was very accurate.
Sure.
So that one there, they had a surviving model that I guess was in pretty good shape.
Not for nothing. I mean, you're talking about a 200-year-old object.
Right.
So, okay.
It's an antique.
That somebody has in their $30 million home
Yeah.
in the Hamptons.
That's
They're like, hey, you want to
antique-y.
see something real cool?
Yeah.
Check this out.
Like, yeah, check this out.
But the ultimate calculator value wise would be a German 19th century brass calculator valued at 11.8 million.
God damn.
Owned by Arnold. Oh.
Yeah, right. It sold at Christie's in London. It was auctioned off. So thought that was pretty wild. $11.8 million for a calculator.
11.8
million.
Add that up.
Who was the guy that bought that?
I don't know,
Bezos.
somebody.
He's like, I'll
wondered,
take that.
What if
What's
you
that?
took?
I'll take that.
What if you took 9,999,999 times 10? Still would figure it out. No, I'm not finished yet. 9,999,999.
Jeffrey Bezos.
He's saying about a computer and
Yeah.
the technology.
That's right. But yeah, man, that was a cool story.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I mean, sad story. It's a shame somebody passed away and died from that, but
They didn't pass away. They were brutally murdered. Dave.
Yeah.
yeah,
There was no
Yeah,
passing.
you can't candy coat that one.
you're not. Ooh, nice one.
Nice.
Oh, that's one last thing I didn't even bring up the whole time. But talking about the names, like, are we surprised somebody named Candy would do that? I don't know. Doesn't that name?
It's a sweet name.
You look at the two names, Candy and Betty. If I said,
Skate Betty?
oh yeah, but doesn't Candy just sound like promiscuous?
Yeah, Candy the whore.
Yeah, if somebody names their kid after like that's a stripper name.
So,
Right.
And
okay,
I know if anybody's named Candy,
let's
that's
everyone
listening.
be clear. Her name is Candice. So Candice is her name. Candy is a nickname.
Nobody
So
told me that.
it could be Candy Cameron then.
Candace Cameron.
Yeah, it could be
Candy
Candy
Cameron.
Cameron.
Like Candice Cameron Bure.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Honestly, did not know Candy was short.
What's beret?
Not
Really?
short. Yeah, I didn't never even connect it. I just figured somebody's name was.
Yeah, I
Candy.
thought her name was Candy. I didn't know Candace. I must have not have read that. I just everything I seen said Candy Montgomery. Thank you.
Honestly,
Thank you for the fun fact.
Yeah, it
Candy's
is.
name was actually Candace.
Yeah.
So I guess the message is just stick with Candace.
Yeah.
You know,
Doesn't sound as
Candice
bad.
Bergen.
Candace Berry would have been Candy Berry. Yeah.
So Candice Cameron Bure. Candice Cameron was in Full
Full
House.
House.
She later married a hockey player, whatever
Bure.
last
Oh.
name Bure. She now does Hallmark movies.
Is he
All,
French?
all the time. Yeah.
Beret.
Could be.
Juice probably knows that guy.
Yeah, he probably
He
does.
has
He
all the
probably played hockey with
connections
him.
and stuff.
Yep.
Candy Cameron.
Candy Cameron. She's no Hillary Duff.
Oh yeah, Hillary Duff. Yeah.
Hey guys, can you wrap it up?
Oh
Look, not for nothing. We've beat the shit out of this anyway.
yeah, it's probably time to
Yeah, I
get.
can't say that.
Yeah, her timing was perfect.
Yeah. Right.
Thanks. Yeah.
Hey,
Wow,
put that
was-
axe away. Come on, we're almost
I
done
know.
here. But yeah, I don't know what we'll be back with next week. Definitely a true crime or compelling story. Thanks to Zap for writing up researching, Matt researching, doing all that. And don't forget to like and follow our podcast wherever you're listening. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at Old Dirty Basement, on TikTok at Old Dirty Basement Podcast. Check out our other podcast, Vintage Cinema Review, which is now moved over to its own podcast. I guess that's it. So we'll catch you where?
On the flip side.
If we don't see you sooner, we'll see you later.
Peace. Thanks for hanging out in the Old Dirty Basement. If you dig our theme music like we do, check out the Tsunami Experiment. Find them on Facebook. Their music is available streaming on Spotify and Apple, and where great music is available.
You can find us at Old Dirty Basement on Facebook and Instagram, and at Old Dirty Basement Podcast on TikTok.
Peace.
We Audi 5000.